Alright. One of these. One of these on. We're gonna play one of these. Alright.
It was a tent made out of plastic sheeting.
Yes, sir.
There was nothing inside the tent except a large toolbox. It was a battered metal toolbox. The toolbox didn't contain anything else I needed.
Well. Innocent Sergeant.
The sergeant was a scrawny man in his 50s who resembled a constipated chicken. Sergeant Moo?
Please go away, monsieur.
No. What?
I was one of the last people to see the victim alive, Sergeant.
Does that worry you?
Yes, it does. I feel I owe it to him to find his killer.
That is best left to the authorities, monsieur. Did he speak to you? Tell you anything?
No, he just grinned and nodded.
Don't let it trouble you, monsieur. Go home and try to forget.
I really did see the clown. He ran into the alley across the street.
Did you follow him?
I lost him. I figure he went underground.
Do you know how many kilometers of sewers there are beneath this great city?
It's not a question I've lost sleep over.
I have no doubt that Inspector Rousseau will organize a proper search.
How did you and Rosso arrive at the scene of the explosion so quickly? You arrived within minutes. Was it a tip-off?
Inspector Rousseau's sources are a perpetual mystery to me, monsieur. There are some who say he has made a pact with the devil.
And what do you think?
I think he is the devil.
My God. Not sure. But anyway, what do you make of this?
Do you recognize this dirty tissue?
No, monsieur, I do not.
I found it in the sewer.
Perhaps it would be better if you put it back
Yeah.
there.
No way. This could be an important clue.
If you say so, monsieur.
Yep.
I believe this material came from the clown's clothing.
If you are right, monsieur, then the clown must be an Englishman.
Well, how do you figure that?
Only the English would wear a suit made from material like that.
Don't
Okay.
you like the English?
It is
Okay.
not so much a question of liking, rather one of taste. They have none.
Inflamed by Sergeant New, French Paris Police Department.
I found this red nose in the sewer.
What were you doing down there?
Fishing for clues. That's where the clown went.
You still insist you saw a clown, monsieur?
Of
Yep.
course. And this novelty nose proves it.
It will take more than a plastic proboscis to convince Inspector Rousseau.
You don't want this as evidence, then?
Certainly not, monsieur.
Alright, you're lost.
What do you suppose this tool is used for, Sergeant Moo?
Yeah.
Looks like something an obstetrician would use, monsieur.
It was with tools like this that the clown made his escape.
I don't understand.
He opened up the hole and disappeared into the bowels of the earth.
If you say so, monsieur.
See you later, Sergeant.
Don't get anywhere with me. Let's try phoning Saladin. Let me go.
Bonjour, Kula.
It's me again, George Stobart.
Hi, George. Any news?
No. How about you?
No, nothing new.
Maybe there's somewhere else we can go on the map. I see. Nice stuff.
Hi there. Remember me?
How could I forget? The man with the sewer obsession.
It's not an obsession. I just like the ambiance.
Yeah. What do you know about this?
Do you recognize this material?
I am not telling you anything.
Did I show you my tool?
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. All right,
Perhaps you'd like to take a look at my card?
What is this? Inspector Augustin Rousseau? What does that say? Hominoid Division.
A homicide. I think the ink's smudged.
Then you are not a tourist.
Okay, I'm not. I lied to you. And I'm sorry.
Don't apologize, monsieur. You know, I had a feeling there was something different about you.
Oui.
It is your posture, your poise. Oh, yes. There is no mistaking the bearing of a disciplined man. And I should know. I was in the army, you know. When I was your age, I was fighting for my life in the African desert. How can I help you, Inspector?
Let's start over from the beginning and tell it just like it was.
Okay. Okay, guy.
Tell me about the man you apprehended.
He was a mean one, monsieur. He grabbed me in an armlock. His face suddenly next to mine. His grip was like iron. But he did not know what he was up against. Oh no. He made a big mistake when he took on one of the desert hyenas.
Yes, yes, I get the picture.
France's version of the desert rats, I guess.
Does the name Plantar mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
Do you know the waitress at the cafe?
So you don't want to hear about my experiences in the desert? I thought to make this country what it is today.
I'm sure you did, but I'm a little short of time.
Oh, go on then. Tell us one of you.
Do you know the waitress at the cafe?
You can't suspect her, surely.
Just answer the question, please.
Yes, I know her. Quite well, you could say. She came to work at the cafe 7 months ago. I look forward all week to the relief she gives me when she visits.
Really? So you'd miss her if she wasn't there?
Oh, mais oui. Who else would I find to cut my toenails?
Ugh. France. Come on.
Was the guy you saw carrying a briefcase?
Why, yes, he was. Clutched in his arms like a baby.
That belonged to his victim.
Oh, what do you think was in it? Drugs? Stolen jewels?
I don't know. But the killer thought it was worth a man's life.
Nothing is worth that, monsieur.
I like this guy. He's got a good head on his shoulders.
Did I show you this tissue?
We miss you.
Thank you.
I have to be going.
Good luck, Inspector. I hope you catch that killer soon.
We will. See you later. Army dude. Army butler man. Alright. Get out of here. No, we're not. We're back. That's right. Yeah, we're back. Alright.
Bonjour, Kula.
It's me again, George Stobart.
Hi, George. Any news?
No. How about you?
No, nothing new.
No.
Sergeant Moo?
Yes,
I've tracked down the clown's movements, Sergeant.
is that so, monsieur?
Yeah. There's a man down the street who saw him crawling out of the sewer.
Dressed as a clown?
No, he'd changed into ordinary clothes by then.
So, how did he know it was the clown?
He didn't, but all the clues add up.
Little children can add up, but I wouldn't let them manage my bank account.
Nothing's getting by Sergeant Hill.
I know the identity of the dead guy. His name was Plantow.
Is that so? You knew him, did you?
No, but
We'll know everything there is to know about him soon enough.
I'm trying to be helpful here.
The best way you can help us is to go home, monsieur.
What is Rosso doing with that girl?
He is giving her the once-over, as you Americans say.
Huh?
Once he gets his teeth into a case, nothing will shake him off.
Was he serious about all that psycho-detective stuff?
Of course. Inspector Rosso is a pioneer and a visionary. His revolutionary methods, once perfected, may change the face of law enforcement forever.
I can't see it taking off in L.A. See you later, Sergeant. It was the scrap of material I'd found in the sewer. It was the soggy tissue I'd found in the sewers. The nose was hollow. Printed on the inside were the words, La Risée du Monde, Paris. It was a metal rod with a handle at one end and a short crosspiece at the other.
I'm a little stuck. Oh, no, we don't need to go there, do we? All the way down there to the police department? Is there anything else I need to talk to this guy about?
Hello again.
Yes, Inspector.
Yeah, did you,
Does this piece of material mean anything to you?
That is the same cloth as the jacket I found. I'd recognize that pattern anywhere.
Now, about the jacket you found. Do you have it here?
No, monsieur. One of the sleeves was badly torn, so I sent it for repair. Pity, because otherwise it was a fine piece of quality tailoring. It had the tailor's name inside on the label.
Where did you send the jacket?
I gave it to an itinerant Romany seamstress.
Just my luck. Was there anything in the jacket pockets?
Not a sou. You know what I think?
Do tell me.
He changed out of the clown suit and cunningly disguised himself as an ordinary person.
Holy shit, this guy's a master.
Looks like I'm up against a mastermind. What was the name on the label?
It was a foreign name. Todlik, I think.
Did you get the address?
There wasn't one, monsieur. Only a telephone number.
Well, I don't expect you to remember a phone number you've only seen once.
74 98 08 59.
You're kidding. That's his phone number?
Yes, that is a little trick with numbers that I learned in Lieutenant. I was taught the technique by actual
Crafty, crazy,
That's
French
incredible.
guy.
It comes in handy at the supermarket checkout. Do I get a reward?
Honesty, monsieur, is its own reward.
Then I'm glad I do not rely on honesty to pay the bills.
Farewell.
I have to be going. Thanks to your help, the citizens of Paris can sleep a little easier tonight.
Raymond, I was only doing my duty, monsieur. Good luck, Inspector. I hope you catch that killer soon.
Well.
Hello? Who is this?
Oh,
Hi, my name's
it
George
must be
Stobart.
George Stobart.
You don't know me.
Correct, Mr. Stobart. I don't. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm trying to trace one of your customers. Could I maybe come over and talk to you?
No. No, that's not possible.
Oh, okay. Forget it.
Yes.
Listen, all I want is a name.
What are you talking about? Who are you working for?
I guess you might say I'm acting in the interests of truth and justice.
Ah, thank God. I thought you were the police.
There are innocent lives at stake, Mr. Todrick. Lives that you could save.
You're collecting for charity, yes?
No, I'm not. All I want from you is information.
Go on. I'm listening.
Oh, okay. In Saturday's movie, the night reminded me of a character actor, Britt, who was tall, relatively skinny, with brown hair. hold on. Sorry. Somebody asked me a question about in a Saturday movie. A night reminded me of a character actor, a Brit. He was tall and relatively skinny with brown hair, quite strong brown mustache. Reminded me of brown mustache, brown glasses. These British actors with brown hair. Right, sorry. There we go.
What do you know about the clown who bombed the Café de la Chandelle Verte?
I don't have no idea what you're talking about.
You're cool, Todrick. But I think you know more than you're saying.
I don't know who you be, but sure I am you don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know if you're saying that to make me think you don't know what I mean, but... Oh, this is ridiculous. Quit playing games with me, Todrick.
I tell you, I know nothing about no clown.
You know a guy called Plantar?
No, I never heard of him.
Oh, yeah?
Did you know that one of your customers was a part-time clown?
If a guy feels happy with a funny nose and custard down his pants, what's the problem?
Shall I tell you what happened to Plantar? How he was killed in cold blood?
I told you, I never heard of Plantar.
I expect Plantar's a family man, don't you? In their little apartment, Madame Plantar is cooking the supper, listening for the familiar sound of her husband's key in the door. Junior is waiting for his daddy to come home from work. He can't wait to show him the merit marks he earned in school today. Only tonight, Monsieur Plantar won't be coming home.
You forgot the puppy.
Huh?
The faithful puppy dog, waiting for the sound of his master's voice.
Well, maybe they don't have a dog. What do you think?
I don't know, Plantar. I never heard of Plantar. None of this has anything to do with me.
Thanks for nothing, Todrick.
Yeah, totally.
Bonjour, Kulak.
It's me again, George Stobart.
Hi, George. Any news?
You bet. I met a witness who spoke to the clown. And I know where the killer gets his suits.
No kidding. Hey, I'm impressed.
You are? Well, it wasn't easy.
Look, why don't you come here to my apartment?
Fine. Where do you live?
361 Rue Jarry.
Okay, I'll come right over.
Cherie, here we go.
I pushed against the door, but it seemed to be locked.
Open the window.
The shop window featured a display of gowns and women's stuff. It wasn't the style of the clothes in the shop that caught my eye, but the prices. The same amount of money would feed a starving family for the rest of their lives. I guess people who buy that kind of stuff don't have a problem with their consciences. The woman was doing something with a pair of needles that couldn't be described as knitting. She was a cheery old soul, the kind you'd walk across the street to avoid.
We're going in.
Oh, hi.
Bonjour, monsieur. Would you like me to foretell your future?
Of course.
No thanks.
I'm very good, and it only takes a minute.
Thanks all the same, but I'm not superstitious. Besides, if it only takes a minute, that's not much of a future to look forward to. What can you tell me about this tissue?
Nothing?
Are the flowers for sale?
Oui, monsieur.
Okay. I'll take a bunch of those white ones.
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
No?
They are lilies, monsieur. Some people associate them with death.
Yikes. Well, thanks for telling me. What other flowers do you have?
Dahlias?
What do they signify?
Insecurity.
I don't want to give her the wrong idea about me. What about the tall yellow ones?
Those are iris, the flame of passion.
And the little yellow ones?
Sensuality.
Well, they're no use to me. I want to make an impression, not jump down her throat. I've changed my mind. Will you tell my fortune?
You're going on a long journey.
My, oh my. What a surprise. Can you tell me anything I don't already know?
10 francs, please, my dear.
10 francs? That's a ripoff.
Please yourself.
Do you know a young woman called Nicole Collard?
Yes, I do. She lives upstairs from me, in the apartment block across the street.
I tried the door, but it's locked.
You know, I've told the landlord about that a million times. It is the damp. The whole building is like a sponge. It sucks up the moisture from God knows where.
You mean the door is stuck because it's swollen?
That is correct. There is an art to opening it. Don't shove it hard. Just give it a gentle nudge above the lock.
Thanks for the advice. How long has Mademoiselle Collard lived here?
A few months. She's in for a shock when the cold weather comes. Drafty windows, insufficient heating. It's a struggle to keep warm. The only reason I stay is because the rent is cheap. Your young lady, she deserves better.
I thought Mademoiselle Collard was a successful photographer.
Not as successful as she makes out for all her fine clothes. Oh, I've heard her crying herself to sleep at night.
That's awful.
Now don't you let on that I've told you. She's proud, that one. Too proud, if you ask me.
See you later.
That's right, monsieur. You will.
Wait, my reading.
Oh, hi.
Hello, my handsome friend.
How does this fortune-telling routine work?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be selling flowers for a living.
Haven't you ever wondered why you were blessed with the gift?
Well, it's a bit like satellite television, I suppose. Some of us are born with a built-in receiver dish. I just happen to be one of the lucky ones.
Can you really foretell the future?
Only time will tell, monsieur. The strange thing is, I can't seem to see myself in the future. Other people, I have no problem. But when I try to see what might happen to me, nothing.
That must be scary.
Maybe. I figure it's a kind of natural safety mechanism. Either that, or I don't have a future.
Hmm. Richard Harry. No, I don't know. I don't know, son. Sorry. I've tried
What
to
do you
solve
make of this
science
tool?
Is it something a dentist would use?
No, it's for raising manhole covers.
Formidable.
Oui, it is formidable.
Do you recognize this nose?
Non, monsieur.
Formidable. Nosy.
What can you tell me about this material?
It's a very expensive piece of cloth, monsieur.
What can you tell me about this material?
It's a very expensive piece of cloth, monsieur.
See you later.
That's right, monsieur. You will.
Remembering the flower seller's advice, I pushed the door gently just above the lock.
Bonjour. I'm glad you could make it, monsieur.
Please, call me George.
Fine. I'm Nicole. Take a seat, George. Eh bien? And what have you been up to?
I've been exploring the sewers beneath the cafe.
I thought I could smell something bad.
The clown used the sewer to escape and to change out of his costume. I guess he was in a hurry. He left his jacket behind.
And?
I got his tailor's phone number. What's more, I know where he hired the clown suit, too.
You had better luck than I did.
Luck, she said. Luck! Hard work, I'd call it. What happened?
I took my photographs to the editor, but he wasn't interested. Can you believe it? He told me to drop his story.
But you're not about to do that.
Oh, no. I am going to find out what's behind these killings. You know what I think? It's a conspiracy. The police in 3 different countries have kept very quiet about the murders. The press don't connect them at all. They blame them on political, religious, or militant minority extremists.
That covers just about everyone. You speak very good English for a French girl.
Thanks. You speak very good English for an American.
How did Plantow get your name?
For the newspaper, La Liberté, I'd written an article linking 2 unsolved murders, one in Italy and the other in Japan. The cases were remarkably similar. A wealthy victim, no apparent motive, and a costume killer. Planta said he could supply me with more information. Somehow, the clown must have known about our appointment.
Tell me more about the clown's previous victims.
The first was Arno Bellotta, the millionaire pharmaceutical baron. He made his money from amphetamines in the post-war slimming and diet boom. Imagine it! Millions of housewives literally speeding their butts off.
Was he killed for his money?
No. He had no living relatives, and his fortune went to the orphanage where he grew up. The only witness in the case was his Filipino au pair. She swears he was led to his death by a snowman.
May I use your telephone?
Sure, go ahead.
Thanks. What about the clown's second victim?
Yamada, the controversial Japanese green politician. He inherited his fortune from his father's electrochemical consortium. He was committed to dismantling Japan's automobile industry.
I can't see him gaining much support with a loony policy like that.
Yamada was a man of vision. He was years ahead of his time.
You say so. How did he die?
At the hands, or should I say, flippers, of a giant emperor penguin.
A snowman, a penguin, and now a clown. You know, I hate to admit it, but this is scary. And I'll tell you what, I won't be accepting any invitations to costume parties.
I don't blame you for being scared. I am too. But this story could be my only chance of a big break.
Or a premature death. This is the tool I used to get into the sewers.
Fascinating, George.
You're not interested, are you?
Oh, of course I am. I think it was very brave of you to go down those sewers.
Yeah? Well, it was kind of scary, but, well, I had a job to do. I found this false nose in the sewer. It has La Risée du Monde printed inside it.
The laughing stock of the world. It's a costume shop near the Gare Saint-Lazare.
I'll check it out. Maybe the owner remembers who hired the clown costume.
Why don't you put it on, Joe?
No way am I wearing this. I'd look really stupid. Besides, he might have had a cold. I found this tissue down the sewer.
Oh, that's disgusting, George.
Yep.
I think the stuff on it is grease paint, like actors use. Or clowns.
It's still disgusting. Get rid of it.
I found a piece of material near the cafe. When I showed it to the concierge, he recognized it right away.
It's very distinctive, all right. Just wait until you see this. I developed the film I showed to the cafe. Here, George, it's an enlargement I made. Look what that guy's wearing.
Checkered pants. The same material as I found in the sewer.
That's right. This guy shouldn't be difficult to find.
Oh no?
Take a close look at his left cheek.
A scar. In the shape of a horseshoe.
Oh, a crescent moon.
How come you enlarged this photograph of me?
Because I noticed the guy behind you, of course.
Tell me more about yourself.
Oh, there is not much to tell.
Well, how did you get into photography?
I guess I owe that to my father. He bought my first camera. I was 8 and my parents had just split up.
May I use your telephone?
Sure, go ahead.
Thanks.
Okay. Now we got the clown on here.
Hello? Who is this?
Mr. Todrick?
Oh, it's you again. What now?
Did you make a suit for a man with a scar on his face? A scar in the shape of a crescent moon?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Tell me where I can find him and I'll leave you alone.
And if I don't,
I won't leave you alone.
I can't tell you anything unless you give me his name.
Thanks for nothing, Todrick.
God damn it, Todrick.
I'm going back out to search for that clown.
Where?
I guess I could visit the costume shop.
Good
Yep.
idea.
Larisi Dumont.
The dummy wore a traditional Puro costume. At least, I guess it was a dummy. She reminded me of a girl I dated back in high school. Come to think of it, the dummy had more personality.
Uh-oh.
As my fingers closed on the plastic novelty, I realized my mistake. It was a novelty, all right, but it wasn't plastic.
Oh, no. Why?
The sight of the dog waste set my stomach churning again. I quickly looked away. It was an antique phonograph, the kind you have to wind by hand.
Bitch, why is that there?
No way was I gonna touch that thing again. The guy's spoon-shaped face was mournful and humorless. He looked like a vegetarian in a slaughterhouse. Excuse me.
Bonjour, monsieur. Please, come in. Welcome. Leave the mundane world behind. For in these four walls, fantasy is king.
I don't want a costume.
Didn't you ever dress up when you were a child?
Not that I remember.
Incredible. You'll be telling me next that you never shared your elder sister's lingerie.
I don't have a sister, and I think I'd look pretty silly in a brassiere. I just need some information.
Of course. How can I help you?
I'm looking for a man who hired a clown costume from you.
Oui, monsieur. I do not see how I can help.
Don't you keep a record of costumes that you've rented out?
Of course, monsieur, but...
Well, then, I'd like to check your records. Give me the names of everyone who's rented a clown suit.
Impossible. There are too many.
The clown I'm looking for is a cold-blooded killer. Give me his name, and I'll see he's brought to justice.
I'd help you if I could, but you can't expect me to remember all my customers. You see, the clown costume is our most popular line, monsieur. On average, we hire out more than 30 clown suits a week. You'll have to give me more to go by. A description, perhaps?
You recognize this man?
Ah oui, he was here this morning.
Are you sure this is the man who bought grease paint?
Oui, monsieur.
How come clowns are so popular?
I think it has something to do with their unpredictable nature.
Personally, I think clowns should be banned, along with mimes.
Oh, come now. Who doesn't love clowns?
Me, for one. Does this dirty tissue mean anything to you?
Let me smell that.
Yeah. Found one. We found one.
Bestheimer's number 7 white pancake.
Theatrical grease paint, right?
Oh, oui, monsieur. La crème de la crème of Cespian accoutrement.
Have you sold any of it recently?
Yes, 2 cans.
Have you heard of a man named Plantal?
I do not recall anyone of that name.
What does this tool mean to you?
Nothing, monsieur.
Do you want this red nose back?
Not after it's been worn, thank you.
About this tissue.
I have already given you my professional opinion.
Are you sure this is the man who bought grease paint?
Oui, monsieur. He chose 2 costumes. Bozo the clown and Seamus the pixie.
A pixie?
Very smart. Green silk with a taffeta lining. He gave me his name as Monsieur Khan.
Are you sure this is the same man who hired the clown suit?
Certainement, Monsieur Khan.
Monsieur Khan.
Are you sure this is
No.
the same man who hired the clown suit?
Certainement, Monsieur Khan.
Monsieur Khan.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
My pleasure, monsieur. Allow me to shake you by the hand.
Huh? Well, okay. What are you trying to do, kill me?
You did not find it amusing?
I never saw the funny side of electroshock therapy.
Eh bien, it is yours to keep. A gift?
Do I need a license?
No, but I give you a word of warning, monsieur.
What?
Remember to switch it off before you visit the toilet.
I gave the dummy Puro a tentative prod, but it didn't move. As I was about to touch the dummy, I realized it had the same color eyes as Nico. The strange thing was, I hadn't realized I'd noticed the color of Nico's eyes.
Alright. What is this tower? What are you doing, friends? Where am I going? God.
Hello? Who is this?
It's George Stobart again.
What now?
I found out the name of the guy I'm looking for.
Is that so?
Yeah, it's Khan. You know who I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes, I delivered the suit to his hotel. The Hotel Ubu. I don't remember the room number. It was upstairs. The second room on the right-hand side of the corridor.
Thanks, Todrick. That's all I wanted to know. Now I've got you, Mr. Clown.
Shall we see how Sergeant's going?
Excuse me?
Ah, Monsieur Stobart, n'est-ce pas?
That's correct. You remember me.
The retention of such data is part of my duty as a gendarme. That is how crime is fought, through attention to detail, not intuition.
Yes, sure. Is Rosso here?
Yes, he is. You wish to speak to him?
Yes, I do.
One moment, monsieur. Stobart is here to see you, monsieur.
Did he say what it was about?
No, monsieur.
Very well.
Hi, Inspector. Remember me?
But of course, Mr. Stobart. My mind is a well-ordered faculty. A mental classification system that's the envy of the Bibliothèque Nationale. No tricks, mark you, monsieur. Just exercise. Just as our muscles waste through inactivity, so our minds decay. But there is no need. If only people would learn to exercise their wits daily.
If he was trying to impress me, it worked. He was pompous and patronizing, but he had style.
Eh bien, if you called about the bombing, you're too late. Investigations have been closed, but I've been taken off the case.
What about the murderer, the dead guy?
It is out of my hands.
What was that psycho-detective business you did in the cafe?
It is my theory that the passions evoked in violent crimes create ripples in the ether, invisible to all but the possessor of a highly developed and receptive mind.
I'm impressed. Can you bend spoons, too?
I didn't think a man of your obvious intelligence would stoop to mockery.
I'm not mocking. I've had personal experience of the power of the mind. I used to get ignored at parties until I read a book that changed my life.
Really? What was it called?
Hypnotism for fun and profit. He looked at me as if I'd farted at a funeral.
The power of mesmerism is a rare gift, not a party trick.
Did you find out the ID of the guy who was killed in the explosion?
I already knew who he was.
You're not going to try any of that psychic interrogation on me, are you?
Do you find the thought of my probing distasteful?
Let's just say I'd rather you didn't. I've got more doubts than doubting Thomas when it comes to mysticism.
Too bad. I think you would make an interesting subject under controlled regression.
The day I let anyone mess with my mind hasn't dawned yet. I heard that the bomb victim's name was Plantar.
Your sources are reliable.
He was a big shot at the Treasury, wasn't he? Maybe that's why you've been taken off the case.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I cannot comment.
Don't you want to know what I found out about the killer?
I told you, monsieur, the case is closed. I have washed my hands of the whole affair.
Then I'll have to continue my investigations without your help.
No. You must forget the business of the clown completely. Go back to being an ordinary tourist, Stobart.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No.
It's the face of a killer.
The man who bombed the cafe?
The photograph was taken soon after the explosion. He'd escaped through the sewers, leaving a trail of clues behind him.
Circumstantial evidence, Stobart. None of it proves a thing.
I found this tissue in the sewer.
It would have been best if you'd left it there.
Well, I didn't. I didn't.
Does this red nose mean anything to you?
What's that mean
I'd
to you?
imagine it means you have not given up your pursuit of the clown.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
What do you make of this, Rosso?
It is a tool for gaining access to sewers.
Would you care to shake my hand, Inspector?
Please don't be offended if I decline your offer, Stobart. The palms of my hands are particularly sensitive.
So long, Inspector. Excuse me.
What do you want now?
Would you like to shake my hand, Sergeant?
Not while I'm on duty, monsieur. The gesture could be misconstrued.
Do you know a man named Khan? He's a shifty-looking guy with a scar on his left cheek.
No, monsieur. Has this man any connection with the bombing of the cafe?
Yes. I believe Khan was the name he used when he hired the clown costume. Would you like to shake my hand, Sergeant?
Not while I'm on duty, monsieur. The gesture could be misconstrued.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur.
It's the guy who bombed the cafe. The clown.
This man looks nothing like a clown.
He's taken off his grease paint and costume.
Then there is nothing to link this man with the killing.
Nothing?
Damn it.
Look at those murderous eyes.
Hardly likely to get him convicted.
See you later, Sergeant.
Goodbye, Sergeant New. Hello, Hotel Ubu.
Just a minute, monsieur.
What's your problem?
No problem, if you cooperate.
What do you want?
Just a routine security check. Nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flap.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Nothing, Guido. Zilch.
Our apologies, monsieur.
What? I had to report you to the authorities.
Round here, we are the authorities.
You want I should break his arms?
No. Let him go, Flap.
The guy looked just like a weasel. The man looked like an amiable Bigfoot. Hey, Shorty! I didn't think much of your trick, little man. I don't know what you're looking for, but you picked on the wrong guy. Maybe you'll spread the word around the sewers. George Stobart is on the case. That's Stobart. 2 B's and 2 T's. It sounded impressive to me, but the weasel didn't seem to share my enthusiasm. Still, I figured he'd think twice before gunning me down in the street in cold blood.
I do not like your tone.
Oh, yeah? And what are you going to do about it?
If you do not go away, I will gun you down in cold blood, right here in the street, without thinking twice about it.
Forget it. Hi there, ma'am.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment, I thought. But never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George Stobart, ma'am.
How sweet! I once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady Piermont. The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, you're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors are honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
Did you know there's a gangster out front?
What makes you think he's a gangster?
The Italian suit and the bulge in his pocket?
I know plenty of men with Italian suits and bulges in their pockets. That doesn't necessarily make them gangsters.
That gangster I told you about? He went through my pockets just now.
Good heavens! One never knows what to expect in foreign parts. Thank you for the warning, young man. I shall hide my credit card in my underwear.
I'm looking for a murderer.
Good heavens! You're a private detective.
That's correct, ma'am.
What's the term you Americans use? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I believe what you're thinking of is Dick.
Precisely.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
My God, it's him! That's Merlin!
She represented everything I loved about the English. The lady was totally deranged. Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no! Monsieur Merlin is a fellow guest.
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you mean, sweetie?
He's a murderer. He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Mr. Stobart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honor. You know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. The wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hemel Hempstead. That was until last night.
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight, romantic music tinkling across the room, and then a stranger's glance. Those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't to be. He was merely toying with my affections. And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
When did you last see Merlin?
It was no more than an hour ago. He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes, darling, positive.
I wonder what they were.
Obviously something of great importance.
Yeah. I'd sure like to get my hands on whatever it is. I'll bet they had something to do with Plantow's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't. Are you going to search his room?
If I could get in there, I would. I have to go, ma'am. Excuse me, didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Oh, it's him.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Have you seen a clown?
I beg your pardon?
The clown. A guy in funny pants. Have you seen him?
My pants are from England. Marks and Spencer. They are a pleasure and a comfort to wear, with much support.
I'm real glad to hear that. You know, it's good to know you Nobel Prize winners are human too.
In my country, the people make do with string and egg cartoons.
For pants?
For everything. Oppression is the mother of ingenuity.
Do you know a guy called Plantow?
I don't know anybody in Paris.
Oh, well, this guy's dead anyhow.
Why do you ask me about dead men? I have seen enough of death to last me a lifetime.
I'm, sure you have. Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private detective. What's your interest in Khan?
He is an enemy of my people.
You know he's a killer.
Of course, amongst other things.
Would you help me investigate Khan?
That is not possible. My instructions are to observe. I cannot jeopardize my position as an honored guest of this country's government.
Does this goo-smeared tissue mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
I want some information.
Who are you? The police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
I've just been manhandled by a gorilla.
Yes? I do not see any signs of a gorilla.
No, not a real gorilla. It was a guy who looked like a gorilla. It happened right out front of this building.
Let me get this quite clear. Are you complaining or bragging?
I want to know what you're going to do about it. The scrawny one has a gun.
I suggest you contact the police.
Can't you do anything about them?
What goes on in the streets of Paris is hardly my responsibility.
Aren't you concerned that your guests are being intimidated by gangsters?
No one else has complained, monsieur? Did they steal anything from you?
Well, no. They didn't find what they were looking for.
What was that?
I don't know. I don't think they did either. I'm looking for a man who dresses like a clown.
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
If you say so. Do you know a man named Plantau?
No, monsieur.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur. That man is one of our guests.
What name?
I cannot tell you that.
What do you make of this tissue?
Do you wish me to dispose of it for you, monsieur?
Hey, no! It could be useful. I'm holding on to this.
As you wish, monsieur. Perhaps you would like a little plastic baggie to keep it in?
Nah, it's fine the way it is. I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah, oui, monsieur. May I see some form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. Yeah, I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats. Thanks for your help, buddy. The clerk wore a disdainful expression, like he'd been born with it. Hanging from a brass hook was a key and a plastic tag. The figure of a sexless youth was frozen in mid-skip with a silly grin on its stone lips. The woman was obviously English. She had all the qualities of Boadicea, Elizabeth I, and Margaret Thatcher rolled into one. It wasn't a pretty sight. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Would you distract the clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act, darling?
I guess I am.
Good heavens, I must be dreaming.
I don't think so, ma'am.
Now tell me, why do you want to get into that room?
I'm hoping it's the key to Merlin's room.
Well, how can I refuse? I shouldn't think my feminine charms would be much use in this case, but a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick. I say, you there, flunky?
Oui, madame.
Listen carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewelry for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, madame.
Over to you, my dear.
There was no one registered under the name of Khan, but the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin. The sign on the door read 22. If the tailor's description was correct, this was the killer's room. The door was locked. The door was locked. Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key. A cabinet stood beside the bed. The cabinet was empty, but it smelt of onions. No kidding, it really did.
Look, tube TV. Look how TVs used to be.
There was nothing in the wardrobe apart from a vague, lingering smell of camphor.
Keep going.
The cabinet had no drawers, just a single door. The assassin had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence beside his bed. The bed was several times larger than the narrow cot I'd been given at the place I was staying. It was the battered leather briefcase I'd seen Plantar carrying just before he died. I searched the interior of the briefcase, but as I'd half expected, it was empty. There was nothing in the pockets of the pants. There was nothing in the pockets of the pants. The bed was freshly made, and the crisp white sheets told me nothing about the killer's habits. I had the kind of feeling in my stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom. The pants matched the jacket which the killer had lost in Paris. I couldn't believe my luck when I found two items in the pockets of the pants. The first was an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. The second was a pass card which read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Neat.
I searched the interior of the briefcase, but as I'd half expected, it was empty. There was nothing else in the pockets of the killer's pants. The matchbook bore a pattern of swirling color and the words, Club Alamut. It was the card I'd found in the hotel bedroom. It read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation. There was no one registered under the name of Khan, but the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin.
What now, monsieur?
Does this pass mean anything to you?
That is Monsieur Merlin's property.
That's right. Merlin the murderer. I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot betray his confidence, no matter what you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe. I can live with that.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
Time to bring in heavy artillery.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I got the key. Thanks for your help, ma'am. I found this pass in Merlin's room.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has a million faces. I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers, but he wouldn't buy it. He's too scared.
I'll give him something to be scared of. Follow me, George! Did you place a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friend here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did, but
What's the problem?
he isn't Merlin.
A mere academic detail. Give him the package.
But that is against the law.
I happen to be a justice of the peace, you silly man. I am the law. If he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
One moment, please.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself this much since Greenham Common.
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady Piermont.
Why isn't Lady Piermont, please?
Voilà, monsieur. Le manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
There should be a doll.
Thanks.
How satisfying. An Anglo-American alliance would actually work.
The clerk had given me a tightly rolled sheet of parchment. I decided not to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment. The door was locked.
Oh, crafty. Very crafty. Upstairs.
I knew this was no way to treat an ancient manuscript, but I couldn't let it fall into the hands of the goons waiting outside.
Sorry, I kind of know what I'm doing. Some stuff that'll get a bit foggy later on.
Hold it right there. Search him again, Flack.
Nothing, Guido.
Okay, let him go.
If the manuscript was what Flap and Guido were after, they were going to be disappointed. I couldn't wait to get back to Nico's apartment and check it out. You're just not going to believe what I found.
It's not another part of the clown's costume, is it?
It's a medieval manuscript. Khan left it in the safe at the U-boot.
It's incredible. Is this what he took from Plantar?
It could be, which means it's worth enough to kill for.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar? Their official seal was an image of two knights sharing a horse. Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades. This guy, named Hughes de Payen, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced Muslim armies. The king would be able to guarantee safe transit to Christians in the Holy Land. Safer journeys meant more pilgrims, and pilgrims meant trade and wealth. The Templars proved invaluable to the king as a mercenary army. It was said that they never asked how many the enemy numbered, just where they were. And as the years went by, the Templars grew in wealth and numbers. They were so rich, even kings came to them for loans. But at the height of their power, they fell foul of the King of France. He rounded them up and turned them over to the Inquisition. Thousands of Templars were subject to torture and confessed to heresy. Of course, at the hands of the Inquisition, there wasn't much they wouldn't confess to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive. But the treasure of the Knights Templar was never found.
Jeez. So the treasure is hidden, waiting to be discovered?
If there ever was a treasure, it's been lost for 600 years. Anyway, we're supposed to be investigating a serial killer, not a medieval treasure trove.
But maybe that's what the clown and his accomplices are after. Maybe this manuscript is the key.
You'd better leave it here for safekeeping. Think about it, Josh. One guy's already died for it, as you said yourself. Besides, that parchment is fragile.
Okay, I'm convinced. You keep hold of it. Did you live with your father?
Yes, my mother went off with her new boyfriend. I don't mind. Papa was all I needed. 4 years later, he died in a plane crash.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's all right. I don't mind talking about him. He was more like an older brother, really. Always joking and laughing. Papa always wanted I should study art. That's why I went to college.
I found Plantar's briefcase in the killer's hotel room. It was empty, of course. Did you learn about photography at college?
Oh, God, no. I couldn't afford the materials. We were billed for everything we used. Paint, canvas, paper. Most of my year turned to minimalism. It was cheaper. I used to go poaching in the park for squirrel hair. The only time I wasn't hungry was the term I did printing. I used to eat the potatoes.
You're making fun of me, aren't you?
Oh, no.
Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
I know a guy who specializes in medieval studies. His name is Lobino.
Huh. Some stuffy old fossil who gets horny over ancient relics, I suppose.
Far from it. Andre isn't the stereotypical professor you have in mind.
Where can I find this Lobino guy?
At the Krohn Museum. I'll give you the address.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the wicked queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall," wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid, Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either. A knight with a crystal ball. There's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinam mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
Through my teachings, you will be enlightened. There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover. It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod. What are you doing to help trace the killer clown?
Research, George.
Yeah? You have a copy of the clown's yearbook?
I have a telephone and lots of contacts.
Oh, well, did you find anything useful?
Not yet. I'm employing my first and most useful weapon.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it a substitute for decisive thinking? Have you found out any more about the murders?
Well, it may be nothing, but both the clown's victims visited Paris earlier this year.
When?
The second week of July. They were both here at the same time.
Did they meet?
I don't know, but I can't imagine it was coincidence.
Did I show you this tissue?
Yes, George. I asked you to get rid of it.
Do you want this photograph back?
No, you keep it. I can always make another print.
Do you want this photograph back?
No, you keep it. I can always make another print.
I found this in the killer's room.
What is it, a credit card?
ID, Thomas Merlin, of the Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Never heard of him or the company.
I found this matchbook in the killer's hotel room. It's from the Club Alamut.
Never heard of it. Is there anything written inside it?
No, what were you expecting?
If this was a movie, there'd be a clue, a name or an address. That's no use. There aren't even any matches in it.
Oh well, I'll keep it as a souvenir. Do you have a boyfriend?
Not anymore. There was someone. A guy in my final year. But it didn't work out. Neither did my degree.
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Tell me more about your family.
When I was a little girl, I used to spend the winter with my grandfather and grandma. They were the best times, warm and safe in their tiny cottage. My grandfather rolled cigarettes while my grandma made hot chocolate and cakes. One day, he stopped his rolling He put the lid back on the tobacco jar and took me in his arms. I laughed and wriggled, but he hushed me to be silent. And with his unshaven chin all scratchy in my ear, he told me his secret.
What did he say?
He said, I don't smoke, but she likes to think I do.
What a weird old man.
Don't call my grandfather weird. He was the nicest guy ever. I wish I was back in that cottage, instead of this crummy apartment in this noisy city.
Maybe I'll check out the Kroon Museum.
I'm sure you'll find it useful, George.
In the case was a spindly tripod, blackened with age and pitted with rust. It was identical to the tripod pictured on the manuscript. A notice identified it as 15th century from Western Ireland. It had been found in Loch Marn at the site of a Knights Templar preceptory.
Ireland! What's that?
This tripod was found in Ireland.
I will have to ask you to keep your voice down.
I'm sorry, I was excited. The case contained the tripod shown on the manuscript. I tried to sneak my hand inside while the guard wasn't looking, but the case was locked. The case contained some fragments of pottery. They looked to me like broken flower pots. Above them, a sign read, L'Age Paléolithique. The case contained 2 rows of silver coins. Each coin on the lower row showed a portrait of a guy with a huge nose. It was a large brass urn. I looked down at a collection of tools with wooden handles and tarnished metal blades. There were knives, chisels, and spikes fanned out in a semicircle. I guess there's always been a need for home improvement. The totem pole looked distinctly out of place in the setting of the museum.
I'm going to save it here and get to bed. That was good. Good night, guys. Bye.